do apologise about that, ladies and gents. My internet decided to disconnect as much as when we tried to get Nate into the lobby for qualifying, so I do apologise for that. But we are back and live. So I do apologise for that, guys. It's obviously out of my hand, but never mind, we are good to go. And thank you guys, if you know, for literally waiting as well, you know, if you're watching the stream later. But massive thank you, and sorry for any inconvenience, guys, but we are back then. So I think Chris Wheatley is going to be the last one to leave then, so let's see what's going to happen then for qualifying. Then it's going to be very close to see what's going to happen. I'm just going to share this round very quickly just so people get the updated link for the stream. But as I say, it's going to be very close to see exactly what's going to happen, because, you know, these guys are going to be on the money tonight. Like I say, it's going to be very close then. So if you are watching the stream, guys, welcome in. And I say, I do apologise for any inconvenience, but should be there about now, just seeing exactly what's going to happen then. So qualifying is going to last for at least 8 minutes and 45 seconds now. So yeah, we are going to be good. We've got all 8 drivers out on track, so you know, the ones that are going to be battling, we're going to try and push on. We'll see exactly what it means for the likes of Daniel Pease versus Gareth Morris. They are currently nose to tail out on track, but you know, it's all down to getting your precision and getting ahead of your rival and trying to get your rival to push, or your rival push further up, and the other guys to potentially make you make a mistake, so your rival can push on. But it's not. It shouldn't really be about the rivals, other people's rival, trying to make you make a mistake. It's about how much you feel. I think some of the guys are going into pit lane just to swap tyres over. I think, you know, just rightly so. It doesn't matter. I don't think it's any particular order how they use the tyres. I can't remember exactly, but you know, it's going to be very, very interesting then. So the likes of Daniel Pease and Gareth Morrison, of course Adam Morgan, as well as Chris Wheatley, are going to be the ones that will be getting their main laps in, because the others have pitted. So you know, it's going to be there about to see exactly what's going to happen. I'm just going to change the cameras to variable just so we can get a rough idea what's going to happen. But seeing how close it's going to get then with the likes of Adam Morgan then. Not a touring car star, unfortunately, as much as we wish it was, but he's currently chasing. He's paired up against none other than Brian Moncani, so Brian's down in 8th at the moment with 7 minutes to go. They will get potentially 2 or 3 laps in, depending on how quick they speed through this course, but it's not the easiest. But just under 7 minutes to go then, the likes of Gareth Morris then tries to get away from his nemesis and his rival for this evening as he hop, skips and jumps like a skipping rope out of the chicane. But he's trying to get away from Daniel at the moment. He's paired up against Daniel, so you know, it'd be interesting to see having the 2 rivals alongside each other on the grid. But just under 6.5 minutes to go in the qualifying for the opening race then. But it's going to be very close then. He's about to cross the line with a 1:45.633. Daniel Pease 1:39.368 at the moment. So Adam Morgan comes through then. What's he going to do? He goes a 1:45.027 with Chris Wheatley then with a 1:45.738. So that puts him ahead of Nate Fletcher at the moment. Nate Fletcher needs to do an outlap, or he's done an outlap, so he's down in 6th at the moment. So you know, the fastest guys that are out there, I think the likes of Andy White and of course Casper Brotner, they go in pit lane as well, so they will be going out on there now. Fast laps with 5.5 minutes to go, so it's going to be very interesting to see exactly what's going to happen, because Daniel Pease at the moment, he's got 2 cars ahead of him and Gareth Morris. So if this was a race situation, then Gareth Morris would potentially be pushing on to get that to win that heat. But I think it's the best of 2 heats. So ideally you could get all 3, but I think sometimes to try and get the driver they're up against, try and get the other driver to try and win another heat as well. I believe they are reverse grids as well in race 2 and 3, but we'll soon find out when we get to that later on in the evening. But it's going to be very close to see what's going to happen with the likes of Adam Morgan. Currently a 3rd then from chasing Brian Moncarney. Brian's down in 8th at the moment. 4 minutes and 40 seconds remaining then with the closest qualifying session. Daniel Pease goes into pit lane, so 4.5 now because of that. But Gareth Morris then 1:45.514. That's going to be putting him thereabouts. He's still pushing on for pit lane, so Chris Wheatley, Adam Morgan and Daniel Pease go into pit lane. They may not get another lap time in, just in case, but we'll see. Casper Brockner about to cross the line. He is going to go provisional pole position, 1:44.6 at the moment. That's the fastest time round here at the moment. They fletch up into 4th then with a 1:45.755, which could be very close with the likes of Andy White with, well, he was 6th fastest, but he's gone to 1:46.622. Brian Moncarney 1:46.392, so that puts him kind of in close distance with Adam Morgan, his title rival, or not his title rival, I beg your pardon, his rival for this evening, just ahead of him on the grid with 3.5 minutes to go. Could be very interesting to see exactly what's going to happen between now and then, with quite a very tense qualifying at the moment. We've got Casper Brockner though, the Dane. He is, as I say, he's a very established racer. He beat me at Catalunya last week when I was standing in for, I can't remember which driver it was, but could be there about to see what he's going to do. But he's 1:44.694 at the moment is the time speed. He's down on that time at the moment, 0.89 of a second, so just under 3 minutes to go. He's hopping and skipping them jumps. Gareth Morris goes into pit lane for them tyres, so it's going to be very close. Chris Wheatley in, of course, 3rd at the moment, so the battle of that. Nate Fletch is behind him on the grid at the moment as it stands, with 2.5 minutes now before qualifying does end. So if anyone wants to go on an out lap now or go on an fast lap, they have the chance, but it's not going to be able to. So I think the likes of Chris Wheatley, they're going to be pushing on with Andy White going into pit lane. So as I say, it's going to be very close to see what's going to happen between now and then. But I think Nate Fletch and of course Chris Wheatley going to be close as you like. Obviously Casper Brockner is beating Andy White to pole position, so that may have, it may have a detrimental effect into the effect, but we'll see exactly what's going to happen there. But I think Nate Fletch is just letting the guys go at the moment. But 1 minute and 40 seconds left then, the all-important qualifying session. Feels like it's not an important qualifying session, but it is. But so Adam Morgan kicks up the dirt there, doesn't want to be doing that. 1.5 minutes then. They are not, probably depends who's thereabouts, but just looking at the times then, I think Gareth Morris, if he puts his foot flat to the floor, he will literally get another lap, but he's on an out lap, so it's not going to count. So he's currently 2nd, but he's leading the field round through the chicane, skipping them curbs. This is exactly how things go, but he's got 1 minute, so he's got a minute to go, just under. He may be able to get another lap in, but we'll have to see exactly what's going to happen. But then you got Casper Brockner on another out lap, so yeah, it's going to be very close to the likes of Chris Wheatley then, trying to push away from of course Nate Fletch at the moment. They're both together on the grid at the moment, 34 seconds remaining, but this could be a very close. Daniel Pease then up in 2nd, 1:45.4. This is exactly what's going to happen, but he stays out. But Casper Brockner still stays provisional pole position at the moment, but with Chris Wheatley and of course Nate Fletch, both rivals for this evening, 4th and 5th. Adam Morgan, Brian Moncani 6th and 7th. That's quite interesting because Brian Moncani, you know, trying to leap up into there, but he's got another lap, so you know it's going to be very close. His qualifying now does come to an end, but Andy White then against Gareth Morris, but Gareth Morris is way up in 3rd place, so Andy White's got to do very well in the first race, the first heat, to literally get thereabouts to push on for, you know, the exactly to get up towards Gareth Morris. No, it's not Casper Brockner, I beg your pardon, but it's going to be very close to see what he's going to do. So, you know, he's a bit down the order at the moment. We'll see what Casper's going to do. He is thereabouts, but you see Gareth Morris then coming through the final turn. Then he's about to launch the AMG, the SLS, up through the final turn. Then just a bit of a kink to get onto the start finish line, but what's he going to do? Is he going to be able to smash Casper Brockner's lap time and get onto pole position and go even further? No, he doesn't, but he goes second. No, he knocks Daniel Pease down to 3rd then, so that is going to be very close because, you know, both Gareth and of course Daniel, they are literally 2nd and 3rd. Adam Morgan up to 4th then, so he leapfrogs Chris Wheatley and Nate Fletch, so he's got a gap between him and Brian Moncani, whereas, you know, the rivals are almost there. Daniel Pease though, on his final lap, he's just gone out of pit lane just to, so he can cross the line. Andy White though, alongside Brian Moncani, so the very interesting, he's up to 7th, so Brian Moncani goes to 8th. That's not looking good for Brian Moncani because he is got Adam Morgan up to 4th, so he's got potentially to get in there. He's going to have to try and push, but we'll see exactly what's going to happen for the first of 9 lap races, but it's going to be a very interesting lap time there. So we've got Casper Brockner then on pole position, so he's going to be very careful to see what's going to happen. Let's see how close it's going to get here at Dragon's Trail, but you know, there's a lot of interest to see what is going to happen between now and the end of the first 9 lap heats. But yeah, it feels weird with 8 drivers on the grid, but this is exactly the nature of the World Cup. You've got Casper Brockner versus Gareth Morris versus Daniel Pease, Adam Morgan, Nate Fletch, Chris Wheatley, both rivals, Chris Wheatley and of course Nate Fletch for tonight. The red lights are about to flip to green any moment now, and let's see who gets to jump. But lots of wheel spin. It looks like Brian Moncani gets a massive launch. Potentially, I'm trying to figure out where he is. Is he still down? No, he's down in 7th. But Casper Brockner versus Gareth Morris going into turn number 1 then. This is exactly how it's going to get, because the racing is evil level playing field. But as it stands then, it looks like Daniel Pease versus Casper Brockner. So it looks like at the moment Casper is leading the battle between himself and Andy White. But then obviously Adam Morgan though, Adam Morgan's on a massive charge, trying to get away as quick as he can because he knows Brian Moncani's at the tail of the field. This could be very close, but Adam Morgan up into 2nd already. Look at these guys, the guys are equally matched, so you're probably thinking, well, why isn't there many battles galore? But there is, because, you know, it's going to be very close with the likes of Gareth Morris. He is currently where is he? He's currently 6th place. He's got the likes of Nate Fletch and of course Daniel Pease and Chris Wheatley, so he's trying to get away, but you can just see exactly what's happening. Chris Wheatley leads that battle with Nate Fletch, but Nate Fletch got on that side, so he's thereabouts. Let's see what's going to exactly happen. But I tell you this, it was a good start to see exactly how things go. But you can just see Gareth Morris down in 6th place at the moment. Andy White and Brian Moncani. So Andy White's leading certain bits and pieces, try and get Brian Moncani knocked down to 8th for the moment. But you can just see exactly what's happening. We'll just see exactly how the pairings pairing up at the moment. Adam Morgan leads that battle between himself and Brian Moncani, so he will be literally happy with that. Casper Brockner leads the one between himself and Daniel Pease. However, though, Daniel Pease is up into third, potentially could be down to fourth, because no Fletcher's absolutely on a charge at the moment. You can just see exactly how well he's going to go. He's trying to push on. Tell you what, fair play, no Fletcher's had some beans this evening, but he's dropped down to fourth now because Daniel Pease gets back. But could be very interesting to see what happens. Gareth Morris in fifth place then, so that battle between him and of course Daniel Pease, with a car between him, but potentially both him and Chris Wheatley, both yellow cars, have a bit of a slight touch, but I think Chris Wheatley's is a different shade of yellow, so that makes it even more easier for me. But Brian Moncani seventh for the moment, losing the battle between him and Adam Morgan, but the battle between Gareth Morris and Chris Wheatley to try and push on, because Gareth needs to get away to try and catch up to Daniel Pease, but he's also got Chris Wheatley's title, well, not title, nemesis for this evening, Nate Fletcher ahead of him. So both cars that are in that battle for trying to push on have both got the rivals close behind them as well. So this could actually make things close as you like. We're on to lap 2 out of 9 though. So Casper Brotner leads the race, but he's actually leading that battle between himself and Andy White, because Andy White's at the tail of the field at the moment. He's going to have to try and push on, literally push on, because he can't afford Casper to take these wins away from him. But you know, this is exactly the nature of this series. Adam Morgan leads the battle between himself and Brian Moncani. Daniel Pease though leads the battle between him and Gareth Morris, but Gareth Morris is only two cars behind, but he's got to be careful because No Fletch is on a charge. No Fletch is leading that battle between him and Chris Wheatley at the moment, so we're going to see what happens. No Fletch trying to make a move onto course on, of course, Daniel Pease, but it's very close between the two Mercedes. They both touched, the Portuguese versus the Englishman. But I'll tell you what, it's going to be very close to see exactly what's going to happen. But Gareth Morris literally trying to get away, or trying to catch up to these guys. He is thereabouts. He's got Daniel Pease, his title, I keep saying title, I mean race rival for this evening, just ahead of him. So it's going to be very close to see exactly how that's going to open up, with Chris Wheatley now trying to push up. He knows that Nate Fletcher is holding these two up, but I'll tell you what, that's going to be very interesting because it's almost 3 cars. You can just see Brian Moncani trying to get further up, but he can't because like Daniel Pease, Gareth Morris, they're paired together. They're going to try and go 3 wide down the back straight into the Seaside hairpin here. It's going to be very close as we get towards the chicanes, but Nate Fletch still holds on for that third place. That was going to be the last of the bravest, but I'll tell you what, it's going to be very close to see exactly what's going to happen, because Nate Fletch needs to push away. He knows Chris Wheatley's not far behind, but I tell you what, it's getting closer, isn't it? But what's happening between Adam Morgan and Casper Brotner? Not a lot, as Adam runs a bit wide, so he's got to be very careful. But Nate Fletch and Gareth Morris, Daniel Pease takes the pair of them. Oh my goodness gracious, that was an absolute epic move. But I'll tell you what, this is going to get very close. This is exactly how the racing should be. But at the moment, Nate Fletch leads his battle between him and Chris Wheatley. Daniel Pease leads that battle between him and Gareth Morris. This is absolutely insane. This is absolutely what we inspired this racing. They're going to try and go 3 wide again. Potentially Chris Wheatley's now invited. He's going to try and... He's trying to get past Nate Fletch as well as Gareth Morris, but I'll tell you what, Nate Fletch isn't going to... He's trying to get a car between him and, of course, Chris Wheatley, which he does with precision. Couldn't pick the atmosphere with a knife at the moment, but, you know, the crowd are loving this. But Chris Wheatley behind Gareth Morris at the moment. That seems to be allowing Brian Moncani now to catch up. This is absolutely close as we like for this racing at the moment here at Dragon Trail Seaside, but you can just see Gareth Morris there in 4th. It could be very interesting, but Daniel Pease leads the battle between him and Gareth Morris. He's got to push on, he's got to get past Nate Fletcher and catch up, but Nate Fletcher's got to be very careful. It's going to be very interesting, because now Gareth Morris is now catching up to his rival, but Chris Wheatley's also doing the same. Got to be very careful, because Nate Fletch wants that car ahead of wants that car of Gareth Morris behind him rather. So Chris Wheatley has a bit of a challenge to try and get past, but that's slowly but surely not going to happen. At the moment, Brian Moncani though, currently 7th at the moment. Andy White down in 8th at the moment, not having a good run this time round, but with Casper Brockner, his partner in crime, trying to latch on to lap number 5, already out of 9. But you know, it seems that Adam Morgan is leading that battle between obviously Brian as well, but Daniel P's back there. Gareth Morris trying to catch up to now Daniel, but 5 laps in, and I'll tell you what, Nate Fletcher's pushing on. He's literally trying to push on because he wants that car of Gareth Morris. You know, that other yellow machine, he gets a bit crossed up. Wants that other yellow banana mobile back behind him, so Chris Wheatley, it makes it harder for Chris Wheatley. But I don't think that's going to be able, because Chris Wheatley's on a mission to catch up. Brian Moncani there, we're just catching. We'll see what's going on further ahead, but you know, it's close as you like between these guys at the moment. This is exactly how the Elderson World Cup racing has been so far. It's been close and furious, it's been absolutely wild. But I tell you what, Gareth Morris trying to catch up to Daniel Pease, battling for that battle. This could be very close, because this is exactly how your nemesis, your race nemesis for tonight, has to plan a strategy to stop you from overtaking. As much as you want to battle, it could be disastrous or it could work to your advantage. You can just see Gareth Morris there trying to push on. Brian Moncani, however, catching up to Chris Wheatley slightly, but they clip the chicanes as Nate Fletch gets a bit of squirm on there. But you can just see Daniel Pease literally trying to get away from Gareth Morris. But I'll tell you what, it's going to be very interesting, because these two are nose to tail. This is exactly what they can't afford. You've got the two rivals at the moment between Daniel Pease as well and Gareth Morris versus obviously Nate Fletch and of course Chris Wheatley. But Gareth Morris is on a mission, he's trying to get that 3rd place. But I don't think it's really going to matter, but sorry, it isn't really going to matter, but he's trying to push on, he's trying to get away from Daniel Pease to say, right mate, if I get away from you, you've got to make it challenge. But Nate Fletch, this guy is unstoppable. He is there, they're going to try and make it 3 cars wide again. This is absolutely tooth and nail. You couldn't pick these guys, you couldn't pick a 3rd place finisher out of these guys at the moment, because this is exactly how this racing is throwing up surprises at the moment. Obviously, yes, you've got to bear in mind it is a league event, so if any issues, if you take anyone out, you do find yourself in a bit of bother. But at the moment, Daniel Pease escaping them with Gareth Morris there in 4th. So Daniel Pease at the moment will potentially, if he stays like this with around 3 laps to go, will push on and will take that 1st heat. But you know, there's 2 more 9-lap heats after this. But I'll tell you what, it's getting very close. Daniel Pease gets a bit crossed up out of the Seaside hairpin. Got to be very careful. But that is allowing the likes of obviously Gareth Morris and of course Nate Fletch to catch up. Chris Wheatley's slightly getting there now, he's slightly getting to the back of this group. But I tell you what, it's going to be very close going on to lap number 7. But Adam Morgan and of course Casper Brockner, they're doing their bit. They know for a fact they've got to get them gaps. If they haven't got their rivals beside them or in that vicinity, as Gareth Morris goes up the inside of Daniel Pease, that could be very disastrous. But they're both battling hard for that 3rd place, as well as trying to battle to stop them potentially getting knocked out for next week. But I'll tell you what, at the moment now, this is going to be very close to see exactly what's going to happen. It's Daniel Pease versus Gareth Morris yet again, side by side. This is going to be great. These 2 rivals tonight, despite what's going on. Daniel Pease clips that curb, but it's not as close as you like. But I'll tell you what is happened here? Nate Fletch has got thereabouts, he's got into 3rd. That is absolutely insane amount of driving, but this is exactly what he needs. He now has 2 cars between him and Chris Wheatley to win that battle for the race, the 1st race, the 1st heat. It's going to be thereabouts. But I'll tell you what, going down the hill then, this is absolutely unstoppable. How on earth is Nate Fletch driving? What has he had today? Because he gets a bit of a squirm though. He gets Gareth Morris closer to that red, black and blue and white AMG, but It's going to be very interesting because we're going to try and make it side by side. Gareth Morris goes on that defence line. He's going to be there. He's going to be hanging out Nate Fletch like some washing line there, but he's trying to push on. He literally is trying to, he's got past Nate Fletch into the chicane. This has got to be very careful because going on to the penultimate lap very soon. But Gareth Morris, Daniel Peace, did he clip the wall? Yes, he did. His tyres are looking a bit shot there. It could be very interesting to see exactly what's happening. But that is exactly what Gareth Morris and, of course, Nate Fletch need at the moment. But this is exactly what now needs to happen. Is Chris Wheatley, as Dan runs a bit wide there, he seems to be pushing on with Brian Mulcahy trying to catch him up. But Chris Wheatley now gets into 5th then, onto the penultimate lap. I wouldn't worry about the likes of Casper Brockner and, of course, Adam Morgan at the moment, because they haven't got their rivals near them. So they're quite in a bit of a, not a massive dilemma, because the likes of Brian Mulcahy is 7th, Andy White is down in 8th, so you know that's going to push them. That's going to make them think what to do for race number 2. But I'll tell you what, Gareth Morris though, I'll tell you what, clips the dirt though. Daniel Pease trying to catch up to, of course, Chris Wheatley. This is where the battles happen. I'll tell you what, Nath now knows that Daniel Pease is struggling. Brian Mulcahy though, however, the Belgian, look at him, he's on fire. He's not literally on fire, but he is thereabouts. He's trying to push on. He is trying to get past these two, trying to get past like the likes of Chris Wheatley and, of course, Daniel Pease. But that is going to be a stellar drive, because I'll tell you what, his rival Adam Morgan is in 2nd at the moment. But I'll tell you what, Daniel Pease is getting back past Chris Wheatley, the Joker machine. Oh my goodness, bit of squirm. Brian Mulcahy is also alongside. This is going to be insane, because these three are battling now. So the rivals that are trying to battle ahead, the likes of Daniel Pease is there. He's got a car ahead of him and Chris Wheatley. Brian Mulcahy, he's clipped the wall. He's clipped the wall. That's what he didn't want to do. Tried to go 3 wide into that chicane, and that didn't pay off, did it? So, you know, Chris Wheatley there in 6th versus Daniel Pease. And, of course, Nate Fletch, he'll be happy with that. Gareth Morris, though, leads that battle between him and, of course, Daniel Pease at the moment, with the likes of Nate Fletch leading that battle between himself and Chris Wheatley. Onto the final lap we go then. So Casper Brockner, don't worry about him, he's miles ahead, but he's leading that battle between him and Andy White. So the two rivals are top and bottom of the field. Adam Morgan is there, so Brian Mulcahy is 7th. So Gareth Morris leads the way of Daniel Pease, but Daniel Pease is under threat from Chris Wheatley at the moment. He's trying to get thereabouts. Chris Wheatley, Daniel Pease runs a bit wide, a bit too deep into that bit of a section there. But will that allow him to chase after Nate Fletch? Probably not. You know, it's going to be very close to see exactly what's going to happen. We'll give Andy White a bit of airtime, because, you know, it's how we roll, but we'll just see exactly what's going to happen. But Casper Brockner then coming through the Seaside section now, but Nate Fletch knows that Chris Wheatley's got back in front of Daniel Pease, because that's how that formed. But Daniel Pease is sliding that choker machine all over the place at the moment. But Adam Morgan 2nd at the moment with Casper Brockner. This could be very careful, but Casper Brockner will take out the first heat then. So Andy White's got to try and win now the last 2 heats to get their bounce. But Casper Brockner, he will be on course to take another race win, but it will be a heat 1 for him in the interchanging rival battles, followed by Adam Morgan 2nd. Gareth Morris will take out that battle between him and Daniel Pease, with Nate Fletch, however, in 4th then. So he takes that battle with Chris Wheatley. Chris Wheatley's currently 5th though, so that's not what he really wanted. He could have done with Daniel Pease in, of course, 5th place. Brian Mulcahy though, 7th, and Andy White in 8th. And I'll tell you what, it seemed to be very close to see exactly what's going to happen, because, you know, there's a lot of things going on. But I'll tell you this, it has been quite close. I'll tell you this, I'm going to quickly get the race results and I will tell you exactly who finished where in the pairings, and I'll tell you what, it is going to be a very close indeed. But we've got Casper Brockner then teamed up with Andy White to try and beat Andy White. Andy White actually finished 8th. Then you got Adam Morgan versus Brian Moncani. Brian Moncani 7th, so Adam Morgan wins that one. Gareth Morris versus Daniel Pease. Gareth Morris wins that heat. Then obviously Nate Fletch and of course Chris Wheatley, but Nate Fletch gets 4th and beats Chris Wheatley to 5th. But fastest lap though, however, is a 1:45.046 on lap 2 from Casper Brockner. I'll tell you what, it is going to be very close to see exactly what's going to happen. Not too sure how it's going to go for the next race though. I think we've got some very interesting moments, but we will get thereabouts. But we could see potentially what's going to happen for race number 2. Race number 2 is actually at 28:43, so it's going to be we've got a bit of time yet. But I tell you what, it's going to be insane, because you might as well just sit back, grab a drink, because you know, looking at that battle, I tell you what, it's crazy. But seeing exactly what's going to happen between now and then, but so we'll see exactly what's going to happen. But Brian Moncani then obviously setting up the lobby for tonight, but it's going to be close to see exactly what's going to happen for race number 2 in a couple of minutes time. But yeah, it seemed, I don't know how to put this out here, but it seemed to be very close as you like, because that battle for 3rd at the time, as much as everything, you know, it's got a bit cloudy here now, but the guys, you know, it seems to be thereabouts, and I was quite impressed with what I seen in that race, you know. But it's now down to the second heat, where we're going to be pushing on for quite some interesting lap time, quite interesting moments, because it is now a reverse grid. So Andy White will get a chance to try and escape from Casper Brockner, so his race rival for the evening. Obviously Brian Moncani will be in 2nd, so Adam Morgan will have a bit of a challenge from 7th place. Then you've got Daniel Pease will start in 3rd, will that push Gareth Morris down to 6th. Then you've got Chris Wheatley ahead of Nate Fletch, so they're both together, but they will be both thereabouts on the grid. Then Adam Morgan, Gareth Morrison, and then Adam Morgan, and of course Casper Brockner. But I tell you what, it's absolutely insane not a racing. I'm not too sure exactly whether it's going to go down to the other guys. I think it's going to be between quite a lot of drivers, you know, with the 8th drivers, you know. But with how I seen it go, you know, that battle, it's pushing on. You've got to make sure them tyres aren't going to wear out. But we'll see exactly what's going to happen between now and then. But who knows exactly what's going to happen for race number 2. But slightly a bit cooler conditions, so it may help the tyres a bit more, it may be thereabouts, but it's going to be close to see exactly how interesting it's going to get. But just looking exactly thereabouts, you know, you've got the likes of obviously Andy White now going to try and reverse Heat 1 to try and win Heat 2. However, it's going to be very interesting. But I think the likes of I think Daniel Pease is actually suffering a bit of an injury as well, so I think he's slowly breaking back into. I don't mean that as a bad thing, but I think he's slowly getting back into racing after having a week out. But it's going to be very close to see exactly what's going to happen. I'm looking forward to seeing what the next race is going to do, but I think when the likes of now Chris Wheatley and of course Nate Fletcher are going to be together on the grid, they're going to have to push away. But yeah, it's going to be very close, but it's going to be very close to see exactly what's going to happen. I think seeing what's going to happen for the second heat, but oh, he's got neck and motion sickness. Oh, that does not sound good. That's not good at all. But we'll see exactly what's going to happen. But see how close it's going to get. I think we'll just wait for Andy White to enter the lobby. I think he's I think waiting for Gareth Morris as well. Yep, we're just good to go now, so it should be a very interesting other 9-lap encounter. Let's see what's going to happen. Are we going to see the guys that we're trying to push on and try and push away from their rival for this evening? Or are they going to try and be thereabouts? Let's see what's going to happen then. But it seems to be thereabouts with the likes of Andy White and Brian Moncani. Daniel Pease is there. Chris Wheatley fourth though, with his nemesis Nate Fletcher alongside him. Then Gareth Morris and of course Adam Morgan and of course Casper Brotner. But you can just see how cloudy it's got a bit. It's got a bit cloudy over the hills, but we are getting ready for the second 9-lap encounter then here at Dragon Trails Seaside. Who's going to get a decent launch? And it looks like yet again Brian Moncani with that decent launch into off the line. He seems to get a decent launch. I wonder what he's using the 43 Mercedes, but Chris Wheatley there against likes of Andy White and of course Daniel Pease there. Got to be very careful, but Daniel Pease versus Nate Fletcher versus Adam Morgan and of course Gareth Morris and of course Casper Brotner. But Chris Wheatley then into second then with Andy White chasing him down at the moment, so that's very good for that interchange of battle. But Daniel Pease also, so like I say, could be the ones that started from the back in race 1 seem to be thereabouts. But Andy White in third then with Daniel Pease fourth, so that could be very interesting to see exactly how the title the race nemesis, should I say, push on with Nate Fletcher against Adam Morgan at the moment trying to push away. But it seems that Andy White and Daniel Pease are thereabout. They're going to battle for third going into the Seaside hairpin. Could be very close because Nate Fletcher is also there, but Brian Moncani leaves that battle between him and Adam Morgan at the moment, between Chris Wheatley and of course Nate Fletcher. Daniel Pease leads the one between him and Gareth Morris at the moment, with Nate Fletcher fourth at the moment, so that could be very close, with Gareth Morris, Casper Brotner, Adam Morgan and Andy White now down in 8th place. Didn't see exactly what went on. He's clipped the chicane though, he's dropped down to 8th, so that's not going to do him any favours because Casper Brotner will potentially lead the second heat. But it's going to be very close to see exactly what's going to happen, because Gareth Morris versus Nate Fletcher at the moment, this could be very close because Gareth Morris wants to push on. He's got to try and push on because he's got Daniel Pease making a move for second place on Chris Wheatley, so that could be very interesting to see exactly what's happening. Nate Fletcher now, Daniel Pease runs a bit wide. That's allowed Chris Wheatley to get alongside back again, but Chris Wheatley leading that battle between him and Nate Fletcher at the moment. Daniel Pease leads that one between him and of course Gareth Morris at the moment, with Adam Morgan realising that Brian Moncani is further up. He's in first place, so he's got potentially 3 cars, maybe 4 cars to get past to get into the race lead, with Casper Brotner 7th, but he's got Andy White in 8th place, and Andy White's around about 15.9 of a second at the moment. So Brian Moncani then leading heat number 2 within the likes of the battle between him and Adam Morgan at the moment. It's going to be very close to see exactly what's going to happen. So you've got Chris Wheatley there leading that battle between him and Nate Fletch. Daniel Pease 3rd between him and Gareth Morris. Gareth Morris is currently 6th at the moment, with the likes of Adam Morgan trying to push on. He's up to 5th now, so he's got Gareth Morris behind him, Casper Brotner trying to catch up as well. So this could be very interesting. The faster guys that were at the faster end of the field in Heat 1 are now working their way through the field, but Brian Moncani then trying to push away. He seems to be very adaptable at the moment. He's doing very well, but to get away from the likes of Daniel Pease as well as Chris Wheatley. Chris Wheatley then 2nd, but there's a battle brewing for 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th, but this could be very close between that Gareth Morris and Adam Morgan. Got to be very careful, because that could easily potentially be wrong, not be wrong, but potentially could be a bit of a manoeuvres that could go wrong, is what I'm trying to say here. But Adam Morgan then trying to chase after Nate Fletch, trying to say, look mate, I'm going to push you back even further, because Chris Wheatley's getting under pressure from of course Daniel Pease at the moment. This could be very interesting. We'll go back to that battle, what's going on at the moment, but Chris Wheatley and Daniel Pease trying to push on with the likes of Brian Moncani at the moment leading the race. Then Daniel Pease tries to go alongside, but oh my goodness, Adam Morgan up into 4th. That is an absolute stellar move. Gareth Morris as well as Casper Brotner. They're trying to make it 4 cars wide into the chicane. This can't happen. But Adam Morgan then up into 4th, and notice he's got 2 cars now to catch up to of course Brian Moncani, with Gareth Morris losing the battle between Daniel Pease at the moment. Casper Brotner though, however, on a move on Nate Fletch, so that's going to push Nate Fletch even further behind Chris Wheatley at the moment. Stellar job there, but Daniel Pease now trying to catch up to Brian Moncani, on to lap number 4. This is absolute top class night of racing so far, but Daniel Pease gets the fastest lap with 1:45.7 at the moment. Chris Wheatley 3rd, leading that battle between him and of course Nate Fletch. Adam Morgan though knows he's got 2 cars ahead of him to now catch up to Brian Moncani, but could be doable with Gareth Morris losing that battle between himself and Daniel Pease. So the guys that are trying to push on to make it 2 from 2 at the moment though are not even close enough, because I think that's exactly how things go. But you can just see Brian Moncani escaping slightly from Daniel Pease, Chris Wheatley, Adam Morgan. Gareth Morris is putting him under pressure, literally under pressure right now. Both cars touch slightly, but I'll tell you what, this is going to be very close as you like between the pair of them, but it's going to be thereabouts. But Gareth Morris trying to get alongside Adam Morgan for that 4th place. He does it with precision, so he's got Adam Morgan there, but I'll tell you what, this is absolutely unstoppable. So Adam Morgan then needs to now get past Gareth Morris to try and catch up to Brian Moncani, but you know, Brian now is under threat from Daniel Pease for the race lead, but you know, they're both leading their battles, but their rivals are chasing each other as well, as Brian Moncani and Daniel side by side out at the final turn. This could be very close between the pair of them, but Brian Moncani gets the overlap and gets tucked back in front of Daniel Pease for the time being, but fair play to him at the moment then. So he's there in, of course, 2nd place at the moment. Chris Wheatley trying to push on with the likes of Gareth Morris trying to push on as well. So Gareth Morris is trying to get away from trying to catch up to Daniel Pease, but he can't do that because Chris Wheatley's in the way at the moment with Adam Morgan defending from Nate Fletch. So, you know, this is exactly what's happening between now and then. But you've got the likes of Casper and of course Andy White 7th and 8th, but Casper's yet again going to make it 2 from 2 in that battle, so that's going to be very interesting to see what happens. But Brian Mulcahy has that train of cars now between himself, Daniel Pease, Chris Wheatley, and of course Gareth Morris and Adam Morgan, and of course Nate Fletch. Brian Mulcahy trying to defend like mad though. He's trying to realise that if he carries on, you know, onto lap 5 out of 9, this is absolutely unstoppable. I tell you what, this has been absolute unreal tonight. It has been thereabouts, but I'll tell you what, Gareth Morris, oh, he's on the attack to Chris Wheatley. Is he slightly? He is slightly there because he knows for a fact he's got a car ahead of him if he gets past Chris Wheatley, which he does. He gets it dead on before he goes into the second chicane, but he now knows he's got to try and catch up towards Daniel Pease, but you know, he's thereabouts. Nate Fletch is just behind Chris Wheatley now as Casper Brockner gets in front of Adam Morgan. This could be very close because the battle for first is also still going on between Daniel and of course Brian, so that's going to be very close to see exactly what's happened. But Brian still second place at the moment, so that gives him a bit of an advantage going into the final heat ahead of Adam Morgan. But Daniel is got to be careful because Gareth Morris is also thereabouts because he's currently 3rd, so you know he's got a car between him and of course Gareth Morris. But Daniel knows that Gareth Morris is on a mission. Chris Wheatley is trying to get away from Nate Fletch, but he can't do that. He could afford with Casper Brockner trying to get past Nate Fletch, so then he has a car, but this is absolutely unstoppable. But you can just see exactly what's going to happen. But Brian Mulcahy then into second. At the moment Gareth Morris pushing away, but you can just see, oh, Casper's got onto the dirt there. I think there's a bit of argy-bargy between likes of Chris Wheatley and Nate Fletch, but Casper's now going to be careful. He's got to be careful. But Gareth Morris knows that Brian Mulcahy is now going to try and push on. But Nate Fletch at the moment then trying to push on. I think he's another one that's trying to get away from, trying to get up to Chris Wheatley, because then he knows for a fact if he gets ahead of Chris Wheatley, he will be another one that will have the advantage of getting 2 from 2 there. But Chris Wheatley still there at the moment, hopping, skipping, jumping them curbs. But Brian Mulcahy underfoot from Gareth Morris. He does that with precision as Gareth, but you just see exactly what's going to happen. The obviously 2-time GT Supercars champion is Gareth Morris there, but he's in second now. But he's now got to chase after his pairing partner in of course Daniel Pease to try and get that race win and trying to make it 2 from 2. But I tell you what, at the moment Daniel in first, then Gareth Morris under threat from Brian Mulcahy gets it. Oh, Brian gets that, tries to get that move done. This is exactly how the racing should be. But I tell you what, it's going to be very close because Chris Wheatley and of course Nate Fletch both partnered. Nate Fletch is trying to get away from Chris Wheatley to make it another heat for him, so we wouldn't have to worry about trying to take it down to the decider. But at the moment then, Adam Morgan there, he knows for a fact he's going to have to try and push on in the last race to make it another. It's going to be a decider between him and Brian Mulcahy if they're not careful. Casper Brockner knows he's going to be 2 heats win from Andy White, but Daniel Pease at the moment thereabouts with Gareth Morris in second, Brian Mulcahy third, but Nate Fletch is up to 4th. Wants that car between him and Chris Wheatley, so he knows he's going to be safe. But this is exactly what Brian can't afford to do. He can't afford to have Nate Fletch chasing down like that. But it's going to be very close to see exactly what's going to happen. But you know, he's literally on a mission. Brian sparks that wall, so he's got to be very careful as Nate literally puts him under pressure. You can just see exactly how well it's going to go. But Brian Mulcahy, though, he will get a bit of an advantage ahead of him with Adam Morgan. But he's got to be careful because Nate Fletch is on a mission. But on to the penultimate lap. very soon. But Brian Moncani gets 2 cars taken because Chris Wheatley's going to be there out, so Brian's got to be very careful now because Adam Morgan will be catching him up. Onto the penultimate lap we go then, but Daniel Pease is leading that battle between him and of course Gareth Morris, so it will be going down to the decider in a moment or two. But Chris Wheatley gets in front of Nate Fletch, so it's going to be very careful, but Chris loses it slightly. But he's got to be very careful because he's got Nate Fletch behind him. Nate Fletch knows if Chris Wheatley finishes in front of him this time, it will be going to a decider in race 3. This could be very close, but Chris gets a bit sideways there. Brian Moncani also catching up, but I'll tell you what, is Brian trying to catch up because he knows that Adam Morgan is in 6th, but Brian gets in front of Nath at the moment. This is going to be very close. Let's see what's going to happen, but you know, Brian now pushes on, but could be very careful, but Casper Brotner will be making it 2 from 2 at the moment. He's trying to get thereabouts, but he's got that gap between himself and Andy White. Andy White down in 8th place sadly. He's trying to push on. He's 22.1 of a second and down. Obviously Gareth Morris needs to push on. He knows that Daniel Pease will have to try and beat him in the 3rd heat of the evening. It could be thereabouts, but looking what Chris Wheatley's trying to do. Is he trying to get there? But I'll tell you what, Casper Brotner, oh, he's got a bit of contact between him and of course Nate Fletch. That's also delayed Brian Moncani there as well. So that's going to be very interesting because Adam Morgan is thereabouts now. Excuse me. Onto the final lap then with the likes of Daniel Pease getting away from Gareth Morris at the moment. But I'll tell you what, 3 cars wide at the moment. Chris Wheatley knows that Nate Fletch is having a bit of an issue. Is that Adam Morgan in front? Yes it is. Yes it is. It's Adam Morgan in front as Brian Moncani goes spinning. There's a lot of battles now. They know for a fact they can't afford to make silly mistakes like they're doing, because that's going to push their rivals even closer and further away, and that's what it's done. Because Adam Morgan now in 6th place with Brian Moncani now 7th, that's going to make Brian get knocked out, because he's going to, even if he wins the 3rd heat, you know, beats Adam Morgan in the 3rd heat, he won't be able to progress next week because Adam Morgan's already done 2 from 2. And I'll tell you what, Casper Brotner trying to get Nate Fletch on away, but Nate Fletch has got Chris Wheatley, so Chris Wheatley will have the chance to get another crack at trying to go through for the next knockout round next week, with Gareth Morris though trying to put Daniel Pease under threat from the final lap. But I'll tell you what, this is absolutely unreal. But Daniel Pease then going through the final corner now. He knows he's got to take this, he's got to now take another heat, and he's got to get in front of Gareth Morris in that one. But it's going to be the 2 partnership, first and second rather, with Chris Wheatley now in 3rd. So Nate Fletch knows he's got to now push away to get in front of Chris Wheatley for the last heat. But obviously Casper Brotner will be the first confirmed to go through as of next week, because Andy White finished 8th, Nate Fletch 4th, Adam Morgan will finish 6th, but he's another one. So Brian Moncani now has to, even if he goes and tries and beats Adam Morgan, he won't be there next week, which is going to be a big shame. But Andy White, you know, he's in 8th place. I think he's had a bit of argy-bargy as well, so you know it's going to be thereabouts. But it's a lot of interest to see what's going to happen in the final heat, because we've got Daniel Pease versus Gareth Morris, and we've got Chris Wheatley versus Nate Fletch to try and see who would go through for the next one next week. But I tell you what, it's getting close, it's getting tense. I'm getting tense in the comms box, but I tell you what, this is absolutely fantastic night of racing. I know there's been a lot of argy-bargy, but Gareth Morris and of course Daniel Pease, they are now going to battle for the third and final heat to see who will go through out of them, because Gareth Morris beat Daniel Pease in the first one. Chris Wheatley and of course Nate Fletch now have got a heat each. They've got now to battle Casper Brockner and Andy White. Sadly, Andy White won't probably be coming back next week, bar any issues. But, you know, Casper's done the double, so Andy White now has to settle for trying to win one, but he's not going to be able... I think he's, you know, hopefully he tries to push on to try and win a heat, but he's not going to be able to progress next week. Adam Morgan, Brian Mulcahy, they were close together, but obviously Adam Morgan's done the double, so Brian Mulcahy now has to settle for trying to get a heat win, but I don't think he's... I think he got caught up in that, but it all depends on obviously a lot of things within the rules, whether the incidences get looked at by the stewards. And I'll tell you what, with Casper Brockner getting the fastest lap on lap number 5 with 1:45.307, it is going to be very interesting to see exactly what's going to happen. I think, you know, there may have been a bit of drama thereabouts, but we'll see exactly what's going to happen. But who knows exactly how close it's going to get. And I was going to sneeze, but I'm not. But it's going to be very close to see exactly how close it's going to get. But, you know, I am slightly we'll see exactly what's going to happen, but we'll see exactly what's going to happen very soon. I think we are going to be, yeah, so 21:06, so we're going to be 2 minutes away. I do apologise, I'm just trying to also sort something out as well at the same time. So we'll see exactly what's going to happen. I do apologise guys, I'm just trying to sort something else out at the same time, you know, it's just... But so we'll see exactly what's going to happen. We are 2 minutes away from the last heat, so yes. So it will be, just briefly, it will be Casper Brockner going through, and also, of course, Adam Morgan going through, bar any stewards' inquiries. But it's going to be very interesting to see exactly what's going to happen. So we'll see exactly what's going to happen, because we are getting ready for the final heat. So Chris Wheatley and Nate Fletch need to, one of them needs to get another heat win, and of course Daniel versus Gareth Morris also needs to get another one. So whoever wins out of, or whoever finishes ahead of Gareth Morris and Daniel Pease goes through to next week. Whoever finishes out of Nath and of course Chris Wheatley go through to next week as well. So just looking at the comments. Nath fanboys, yes, very funny Ishmael and Darren, but we have some serious commentary to start, boys, so you know, but fair enough. But yes, we are getting ready for the final heat of the night then. This is where it's going to get probably spicy, because I think, you know, Nate Fletch and of course Chris Wheatley are going to want to push on. So you've got Andy White versus Brian Moncani. They are now going to have to try and push on to try and get one heat thereabouts, but we'll see exactly what's going to happen. You've got Nate Fletch and of course Casper Brotner. So Nate Fletch has already got a car ahead of him and of course Chris Wheatley, but then Gareth Morris and Daniel Pease are together on the back row of the grid. The green lights are going to go out now, and the green lights going to go out. The green lights come on now. As I say, as Brian Moncani tries to get a decent start yet again, but looks like this time Andy White's got the start he wanted with Adam Morgan versus Nate Fletch. Nate Fletch already trying to push away to try and get away from Chris Wheatley. It looks like Chris Wheatley's bogged down at the start because he's there in 6th place at the moment. So Gareth Morris and Daniel Pease almost nose to tail, but Chris Wheatley there is, where is he? He's still 6th at the moment, with Nate Fletch now up into 2nd. So that will give Nate a bit of a hand. I know he's covering for Darren tonight, so Darren's probably going to be over the moon with that. But Adam Morgan trying to push on, not touring car star, but Nate Fletch is down in 3rd, then Brian Moncani 4th, Casper Brotner already through to next week alongside Adam Morgan, with Chris Wheatley down in 6th, Gareth Morris ahead of Daniel Pease. So Daniel Pease may be the other casualty, but could see exactly what's trying to go on. But what is happening into the Seaside hairpin? But Andy White leads the way then. He's going to be happy with this, because even though he's had a bit of an issue, Nate Fletch for that 5-10 penalty, that is not what he wants. That will cost him dearly. And I mean, it will cost him dearly, because, you know, it's a 5-10 penalty. He's going to have to take that as well. But that will allow Chris Wheatley to push on. Chris Wheatley's actually there in 5th place at the moment, so bear in mind he gets in front of Brian and of course Casper Brotner. He could actually overlap Nate Fletch and potentially push on, but at the moment Nate Fletch, he's not took that penalty. He's took it on the line, and that's probably not going to hamper him really badly as well. So Adam Morgan then in 2nd. There's a, oh my goodness, there's a train of cars. This is going to end in tears. Someone's going to cry. But Nate Fletch still there in 3rd place at the moment. May find himself in slight hot water with that penalty, but he will be thereabouts. But you know, you can see Casper Brotner working long and hard to try and get past Nate. He is thereabouts. Chris Wheatley 5th, Brian Moncani 6th. Gareth Morris then leaves that battle between him and Daniel Pease. Daniel Pease needs to push on, but we'll see exactly what's going to happen. But you know, Daniel Pease pushing on. He's swarm of angry bees yet again. But Andy White, where has he come from? He's obviously had 2 disasters tonight, but seems to be doing okay this time round. Adam Morgan 2nd, Nate Fletcher at the moment 3rd, Casper Brotner 4th, Chris Wheatley in 5th, Brian Moncani 6th, Gareth Morris in 7th. But Casper Brotner on the charge to get Nate Fletch for that 3rd place. So he's got it done, but Nate is going to have to push on. He knows he's got Chris Wheatley behind him now. Did not really want that, did he? He didn't really want Casper Brotner to get past. But that is exactly how things are going to go. Chris Wheatley in 5th, then Brian Moncani down in 7th, because he's got Daniel Pease all over him. But Gareth Morris then will be going through to see exactly what's going to happen. But Daniel and of course Brian Moncani, these two are going to be nose to tail now. We'll see exactly how that's going to be, but it's going to be close as you like. But we'll see exactly what's going to happen, with Andy White still leading away from Adam Morgan at the moment. But Adam Morgan on that attack, jeez, what a move. Well, Andy White fights back and gets that 1st place, but then Adam Morgan gets that overlap. that is absolute stellar between the pair of them. But going to be very careful to see exactly how close it's going to get, because, you know, Andy White currently in second, Casper Brockner third, with Nate Fletch with Chris Wheatley behind, but Chris Wheatley may have a bit of an advantage here to try and get past Nate Fletch, but at the moment as it stands Nate Fletch may go through, but depends what the stewards think of that penalty. It's going to be thereabouts, but I'll tell you what, it's going to be there. Chris Wheatley there. Gareth Morris will go through now if he finishes in front of Daniel Pease, as Daniel Pease really struggles at the moment trying to put the power down in that Mercedes with the likes of Brian Mulcahy behind him at the moment. This could be very close, as you like, between the pair of them, as Brian Mulcahy tries to get the move done. Is he going to get it done? No, he's not, because Daniel Pease shuts the door, but Brian Mulcahy will fight back for another day as Gareth Morris is thereabouts. But Chris Wheatley tries to push away from Gareth Morris. It could be very interesting to see exactly what's going to happen, but Casper Brockner has his the race rival rather, Andy White ahead of him, but Andy White won't be returning next week because Casper's already had the 2 from 2, but it could be 3 from 3 for Casper, because he's trying to get alongside him now for that second place. Could be very close to see exactly what's going to happen, because, you know, Andy White is still there in second place at the moment. He's doing a stellar job though, to be fair, but Nate Fletch is also catching them up, so, you know, this could be very close between the lot of them. On to lap 4 out of 9. It's going to be 3 cars wide. I don't understand how they can go 3 cars wide. That is gutsy and brave stuff, with the likes of Andy White back into second, then Nate Fletch into third, then with Gareth Morris though trying to catch up to Casper Brockner and saying, not on your life, sunshine. You can't have that 4th place away from me. But that's allowing the likes of Chris Wheatley to get held up at the moment, so that might be Nate Fletch's good grace, but you know, you've got to be very careful to see exactly what's going to happen. But Chris Wheatley in 6th, then Daniel Pease 7th, Brian Mulcahy also in 8th, but I'll tell you what, Adam Morgan then leading from, oh my goodness, oh my god, we're going to get 3 wide at the chicane, aren't we? No, we're not, luckily. Thank you boys for settling that. But that is going to be very careful then, because Andy White drops down to 4th, but Casper Brockner into 3rd then, but Gareth Morris is also there, so Gareth Morris is on a mission up into 4th and goes, then drops Andy White down to 5th at the moment, but could be very close, because it's going to be getting closer and closer between the likes of Nath and of course Casper at the moment, with Gareth Morris 4th, but Daniel Pease up into 5th, then he actually made a stellar job. This is actually getting very close. Chris Wheatley's trying to push on. He's got to be very careful. On to lap 5 out of 9, so we're not far from the race, actually the third and final heat ending. But I'll tell you what, it's actually been absolute unreal, with the likes of Adam Morgan in 1st place, followed by Nate Fletch 2nd, Casper Brockner in 3rd, then Gareth Morris 4th, Daniel Pease. He's got, if Gareth Morris makes a mistake, then that's going to be very interesting. Andy White versus Chris Wheatley and Brian Mulcahy for 6th, 7th and 8th. So Chris Wheatley squeezes Andy White out of that corner there. That could also be a bit of a interesting moment for the stewards. But the battle for 2nd really is going to be very close between Casper, Nath, Gareth Morris. It's going to be very close, because Nath's trying to hold on for dear life. He's trying to literally, oh my goodness, 3 cars, 4 cars potentially. This is getting very close and scary. I'm slightly concerned and slightly scared right now, because it's going to get very close as we go into these chicanes. But I'll tell you what, if Nath drops back down, he's not going to like that, because he's got Daniel Pease trying to close up to him. He's going to be thereabouts, but it's going to be unreal between the likes of Gareth Morris and of course now Daniel Pease trying to get away, or trying to get up, should I say, towards the likes of Nate Fletch and of course Casper Brockner. But onto lap 6 out of 9. How close has this been? How close is this been? Because this is now going to be very close to trying to go 3 wide again. It's making my heart skip. You know, it really, oh my goodness. It's like a playground scrap at the moment. It's Daniel Pease versus Casper Brockner and of course Nate Fletch at the moment. But you know, it's going to be thereabouts with the likes of Brian Mulcahy now 6th, Andy White down in 7th, Chris Wheatley 8th at the moment. So Chris Wheatley's had a bit of an issue somewhere, but Daniel Pease then up into 4th, trying to now chase after Casper Brockner. This is absolutely careful and precision driving between a lot of drivers, but Adam Morgan is already safely through. Gareth Morris will be safely through unless he makes a mistake, unless Daniel catches him up as well. But then you've got Daniel in 4th, then Nate Fletch in 5th at the moment. This is absolutely unreal between a lot of them at the moment. But this is going to be very careful with 3 laps to go in this race. But Daniel Pease, oh, he's lost it. He's got a bit of damage there. Saw him go off to the side, but he's got both front sides, front and left damage, and front bumper damage. So that's dropped him down quite a bit now. That's dropped him out of that running with Gareth Morris. So Gareth Morris is safely now through. It's almost like commentator's curse there. But Nate Fletch though holding on for dear life into 4th. He may get that. He may get that retrieval because. But then Chris Wheatley is up into 7th. Then Andy White currently. But it's the battle now. The battles now are potentially between the guys that have got knocked out. It's a bit unfortunate to see the likes of Brian Mulcahy, Daniel Pease, Chris Wheatley, and of course Andy White not be able to maybe able to push on. But it's a bit of a shame really, because they would have been really good to battle. But as I say, it's getting towards the nitty gritty stuff now. So it's probably going to be a lot of the last 4 next week. I believe it's down to 4 next week. It's going to be very close. But I'll tell you what, Gareth Morris, Adam Morgan, Casper Brockner, Nate Fletch, they're going to be the ones that could be in the final 4 for next week. It could be very interesting to see what's going to happen. But it all depends on stewards' inquiries, of course. But then you've got, of course, Brian Mulcahy and, of course, Daniel Pease. Daniel Pease scraped that wall. He's obviously suffering quite a bit now. With Chris Wheatley trying to catch up. He's trying to be thereabouts. But we're soon to be going on to the penultimate lap. This has actually been really unreal. I'll tell you this now. If you've seen any racing like this, or you haven't, then you've been in for a treat all night. I'll tell you what, it has been very spectacular. I can't believe how close it has been. But Adam Morgan goes on to the penultimate lap then, with Gareth Morris close behind now, trying to catch up with Casper Brockner there. But like I say, they're all in, at the start of the evening, they're all in familiar cars. They're in the same car. They're not in different cars. They are in the same car. And it's going to be very interesting to see what car they're going to be in and where they're going to go next week. But Daniel Pease trying to push on. Andy White back down to 8th then, with Chris Wheatley in, of course, 7th. But who was that? Is that Nate Fletch making a bit of a rare mistake? Might have been, you know. But Casper Brockner in 3rd then, with Gareth Morris in, of course, 2nd at the moment. But Nate Fletch, he knows he's got to push thereabouts. But it's going to be very close to see exactly what's going to happen. But it could be very close to see exactly what's going to happen. But you've got the likes of Adam Morgan, Gareth Morris, and of course Casper Brockner still there, top 3 at the moment, with the likes of Nate Fletch 4th, Brian Mulcahy now 5th, Daniel Pease still there, in 6th place with Chris Wheatley and of course Andy White there. But going on to the final lap, this is how close it's going to get. But I'll tell you, this is going to be very unreal. But you could be very careful between the likes of Adam Morgan. Of course, Gareth Morris is literally under threat from Casper Brotner to go out the final turn. But Nate Fletch, he's going to be there. Is he going to try and push on for 4th place at the moment with the likes of Brian Mulcahy trying to get thereabouts? Daniel Pease still in 6th. Chris Wheatley 7th. But I'll tell you what, Andy White's going to be a bit livid with how his night's gone. But Adam Morgan then still there. It's going to be very interesting to see exactly what's going to happen. So Adam Morgan will be going through next week. Gareth Morris definitely going to be going through this time with the likes of Casper Brotner. It could be very interesting to see exactly how well he does. He will be going through next week. Nate Fletch, I'm not going to say there's a question mark over him, but there will be a slight idea to see what happens with that penalty, because whether it was taken and it was allowed, but he will be definitely through if he does go through, with the likes of Brian Mulcahy and of course Daniel Pease, and of course Chris Wheatley and Andy White won't be returning for the final 4 shootout. But could be very careful to see exactly how that's going to pan out. But Adam Morgan then going up towards the last 2 chicanes now of the last race of the evening, the last heat. Could be very interesting to see exactly what's going to happen, because he's going to go there. Gareth Morris also there. Casper Brotner 3rd with Nate Fletch 4th at the moment. But the battle for 5th and 6th between the already 2 relegated positions for the week after. But Daniel Pease in 5th rather with Brian Mulcahy. But Adam Morgan then with Gareth Morris close for comfort going out the final turn. But I'll tell you what, Adam Morgan will take a victory, followed by Gareth Morris, Casper Brotner 3rd, Nate Fletch in 4th, with of course Brian Mulcahy 5th, Daniel Pease 6th, Chris Wheatley 7th and Andy White in 8th. It's going to be a very weird sort out in the next race, but Nate Fletch was the only one with a penalty in that race, and it's the only one with the penalty all night as well. But I'll tell you what, it's going to be very close to see exactly what's going to happen. But I will get the replay as well as the race results. But it's going to be very close to see exactly what's going to happen there. But I'll go through the final race results for the evening. So Adam Morgan is definitely safely through. Gareth Morris in 2nd, safely through. Casper Brotner safely through. Nate Fletch, depending on that penalty, possibly will be safely through. Brian Mulcahy, Daniel Pease, Chris Wheatley and of course Andy White sadly will not be in the last 4 showdown, with Gareth Morris in of course fastest lap with a 1:45.4 on lap number 3. I'll tell you what, that is going to be close. I can't wait to see what's going to happen. But I'll tell you this, it has been very unreal. But I'll tell you what guys, I am looking forward to seeing what happens on Friday when we visit Largo for the VW Scirocco's, brought to you by Shell Lawman Motorsport. And I'll tell you what, that is going to be another cracker of an evening. Until then guys, I've been Hoppers for Eldar Racing. I'm going to go and get myself a drink and chill out for the rest of the evening now. But I will see you guys then. I probably will see you for the final 4 showdown next week. But it's going to be very close to see exactly what's going to happen. So until then guys, take care. Ta-ra.